All right, folks, let me say a special good evening to all of you already locked in with me here tonight. I am normally, at least 95% of the time, I try to stick on time, and I said I will be having a joint live tonight with my brother Earl Bruno. He's not here as yet, but it is already 8 o'clock, so time is time, and I have to get things cracking here tonight. I guess he will be joining me very, very shortly. What I want you to do with me tonight, just give me an idea whether the volume, whether you're hearing me okay tonight. I need a response from you. I set up a cordless mic here, and I just want to make sure that everything is a-okay in terms of you hearing what I'm saying tonight. Volume is low. Sound check is good. Everybody's hearing me properly. That is what I want to know from you tonight. I just need to know whether the volume, whether you're hearing me properly, so I can either tweak it up a bit or tweak it down a bit. Oh Lord, Kendra, you're giving me some kicks tonight. Kendra is saying the crickets in my area, they are louder than me. Okay, let me see if I could just turn up that volume a little more, so that we can get things going here. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we should be better now, right? Yeah, I believe we should be better now. Okay, good. All right, again, folks, let me say a special good evening to all those of you already locked to the live today, tonight rather, the 16th night of September 2020. It's always a pleasure to have you in my company whenever I decide to go live. Some matters of national importance tonight we will be discussing. When I say we, I am expecting my brother Earl Bruno to join me very shortly. But as I said, it is a matter of, I am a timepiece. When I give you my time, you can at least count on that. So it is already 4 or 5 minutes past 8, so we got to get things cracking here. I don't know what you have to do with your time, so I really cannot have you waiting too long. Two matters tonight that I would really like to keep on the front burner in terms of our little discussion tonight here. And what I want to do tonight is, as well, if you have any questions or comments or suggestions, you can please feel free to post it in the comments area below, so that either Earl or myself can, seek to answer your questions tonight. So it is not just a matter of we transmitting information to you, but it is you yourself be part and parcel of the conversation by asking or suggesting something to us as well. All right, that is how we will be learning from each other, is by we transferring information from one to another. Yeah. Before I really start in earnestly tonight we heard of some natural occurrences tonight in the Soufriere area, to be precise. Some persons are saying already that it is somewhat of a landslide that came down in the Soufriere area, that is in the south of the island tonight. From my vantage point where I'm at, I cannot see nothing tonight. Only what I have to go by tonight is some videos and some pictures that I saw. But yes, I can confirm to you that at least something is happening in the Soufriere area tonight as it relates to some movement of the earth tonight. So we just hope and pray that everything is okay with the persons up there, and as the people from the disaster management team said, they are monitoring the situation and they will give their suggestions to the people in the area what to do if that situation persists and things seems to be worsening. But for now, things seems to be okay for now. We know that area in the south is a very volcanic in nature, and so Dominica is one of the Caribbean countries with the most active volcanoes, and so that is no surprise to us, but we just pray that everything will be safe and the people in the south of Dominica will continue to be safe. All right, as I start my little dialogue here with us tonight, folks, I had an engagement with a gentleman, and this gentleman brought to my attention a very, old paper, and I just want to give you an idea of that paper so you can see the state in which it is. All right, it is not a young piece of paper. You can see it's torn in some areas. All right, but that stems back to the year 2000. Yes, 2000, you would be right. And I can tell you the information that is on those sheets of paper, it is very, very interesting. What I'll be doing tonight in terms of the starting our discussion tonight, I will just want to go through one or two items on that paper to bring us back at least 20 years. Because the year 2000 in my mind, and I would want to think in your mind as well, it was a very pivotal year in Dominica. A lot of things changed, and we are where we are today in Dominica as a result of something or some things that happened way back in the year 2000. Some of us will well remember the year 2000 was called the Millennium Year. And that was when it was a year that a lot of persons said the world was going to come to an end. A lot of panic were in the air, a lot of tension, a lot of persons were just, being on the little edgy side because it was a millennium, the millennium. We were entering the millennium then. And yes, there were a lot of panic in the air. But to come down to our local nature island, a lot of things happened on this blessed rock. And some of you well remember in the year 2000, the Dominica Labour Party took over the reins of power in Dominica from the UWP government at the time, led by Mr. Edison Chenfield James. Mr. Rosie Douglas, some of you remember very well, he was a pivotal character in the whole political change or the political landscape then. Mr. Rosie Douglas was a breath of fresh air at the time to a number of persons across the country. I can confess to you tonight that in the year 2000, yes, I did vote the Dominica Labour Party, because to me, Rosie Douglas, hearing him speak, hearing about his plans for the country at the time, I thought that that was a man that I could give a chance in terms of the leadership and direction in which I wanted my country, Dominica, to go back then. But like fate would have it, sometimes things don't work out how you really want it to be. So a lot of things happened, and it's still happening today. There was this magic word, I call it, and this paper here, it is printed right here. And remember, folks, as I said, that is a 20-year-old paper. So that is a paper that was printed in the year 2000. That paper I have in my hand, it's sort of a paper that the Dominican Labour Party, under the leadership of Rosie Douglas, then presented to the Dominican people in terms of information that they wanted to go out as they were contesting to be the next government to take the reins of power in Dominica. And the paper is entitled Corruption with an exclamation mark. All right? Corruption with an exclamation mark. And it says, it continues by saying, a new UWP policy for Dominica. All right, so that was one of the captions that a lot of Dominica bought into in the year 2000. That word right there, corruption, it was one of the sticking points that made up a lot of minds in Dominica at that time. I remember hearing that word, not for my very first time, but that word, it resonated so much back then that even me myself, there was some doubts in my mind as to the government that was there at the time. And remember, it was the government of Edison James, and what they were doing back then. And that word, corruption, came about by Rosie Douglas and the Dominican Labour Party folks then. And it struck a chord with a lot of people, because a lot of people, that word corruption, a lot of us did not know what it really meant back then. A lot of us, some of us were hearing it for the first time. A lot of us, some of us were hearing it on TV. When we would watch TV, we would hear about corrupt countries and, you know, leaders who are corrupt. And so the introduction of that word in the political landscape at the time, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, it did play a very active role in changing the minds of a lot of persons in Dominica as to the political party of their choice that they would choose back then from 2000 then on. And as a result of that, those words, corruption, it says here as well, and I think that is worth repeating, corruption, a new UWP policy for Dominica. So you see how by just injecting those lines there, right there, it had persons thinking. And what the Dominican Labour Party said back then, this word corruption, it was part and parcel of the policy of the UWP government back then. And I can tell you folks, that phrase, it latched on. It was etched in the minds of a lot of persons back then. What I want to do, even before, as I said, we go into the meat of the discussion tonight, I'm just going through that, waiting for my brother Earl to get here. When he get here, we will go into the topics for tonight. And the two topics for tonight we really want to go deep into tonight is the $64,000 mansion that has not come out from the front burners yet, and also the appointment of Mr. Byron to come to Dominica to recommend ways our electoral machinery here in Dominica could be better. These are the two topics we really want to sink our teeth in tonight. But I'm just giving you some information just as an appetizer as I wait on him before as he gets here. This paper, folks, it says here, and I just want to read the first paragraph so that we could get a good snapshot as to the mindset of Rosie Douglas back then and the persons who followed him in that Dominica Labour Party back then. I will not be reading the entire thing because there's lots of information. It's loaded. I believe as I go through my different sessions of live with us, then that paper, I will be going through it with us so that we can get a better grasp. We can go back to yesteryears and see where we were and where we are today for us to do some compare and contrasting. But that paper starts by saying, Professor Rex Nettleford, a great West Indian historian, in a speech delivered at the Fortune Hotel said that corruption in public office is not confined or limited to bribery or taking of money. Corruption extends to and includes the use of public office for personal gain, to promote party interests, to procure the re-election of a party to power by disbursing public funds and public property. The DLP accepts Professor, no, that's the Dominica Labour Party, huh? The Dominica Labour Party accepts, and that was all the way back in 2000, under the leadership of Rosie Douglas. It says the Dominica Labour Party accepts Professor Nettleford's definition. On the other hand, the UWP says corruption in public office means the taking of money or a bribe only. The reason for UWP's position is clear. Corruption as defined by Professor Rex Nettleford exists and flourishes in Dominica under UWP. That is the opening statement on this paper. Comparing Rex Nettleford's statement, a professor, he gave her a speech at the Fortune Hotel all the way back in the 2000s, basically breaking down what corruption really is. And Rosie Douglas, he being that very astute politician he was, and could sway your mind into thinking something else than what you really want to think about. He used this professor's words and swayed the minds of a lot of Dominicans, folks. Now, just continuing on. After this opening paragraph, right, there are some points that the Dominica Labour Party highlighted as to the corrupt practices or corrupt acts by the UWP government back then. And I just want to read 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. There are many of them. It's like 70, let me see. 73, yeah, 73 points that the Dominica Labour Party back then highlighted of corrupt action, corrupt ways, or what they said were corrupt actions by the then UWP government. 73 points they put down on that paper. But I'll just be highlighting at least 4 of these points tonight, folks, so that you know the Dominica that you're living in now. I know the Dominica that I'm living in now. And I'd really like us to be true to our conscience and really see if what was said back then, if it is a reality now, and where do we go from there. Point 1. It says corruption exists when passports are sold clandestinely, to crooks and fugitives, resulting in shame to Dominica and visa restrictions. Now, folks, I want us to digest that properly. That was all the way back 2000. The Dominican Labour Party under Rosie Douglas said of the UDLP government back then, corruption exists when passports are sold clandestinely to crooks and fugitives, resulting in shame to Dominica and visa restrictions. That is the first point. I pause, yes, because I really want that point to sink in, folks. I really want that point to sink in. Where we were back then in 2000 as it relates to passport sales, and where we are now today as it relates to the same passport sales, I want you to be true to your conscience and answer that question truthfully. Whether back then, if Labour Party could highlight it, and it was so much of a bad thing then, I need us to be true to our consciences tonight and answer that question where we are now as it relates to our passport sales and the scandal that keep bugging us as a country. That's point number one. Point number two. It says corruption exists when large road projects are given to a company owned by a foreigner known to be friendly to the UWP at prices significantly higher than the public officers. The wind is giving me a little challenge here. Than the public officers' estimates and the subcontract price payable to public works. That is another very great point that Rosie Douglas and his guys made back then against the UDLP government in terms of what they said back then were corrupt practices. I want us to read it again, get it to let it sink in. Corruption exists when large projects are given to a company owned by a foreigner known to be friendly to the UWP at prices significantly higher than the public officers' estimates and the subcontract price payable to public works. Again, folks, you live in Dominica, I live in Dominica. We know what is happening with Dominica now as it relates to large projects and foreigners. I need not go further. So to compare and contrast what was happening back then and what is happening now, I really, really need you to be true to your conscience. The third point, folks, it says corruption exists when that company is paid before public works. That's the third point. We all know now what is happening to our public works department. I reported on that over like 2 episodes. The place that used to house public works, the same public works that is being spoken of here. Public works is no longer at that premises on Goodwill Road. I am hearing that a foreign company bought that place and is about to erect some superstructure on that property. As to Dominica's interest in that property, in that sale, we know very little. So the point about corruption exists when a company is paid before public works. Back then, I want us to do some compare and contrasting. Public works to me now is like a shell. the kind of work that our public works used to be doing before, gentle people, if we are true to ourselves, we will know definitely the public works that existed back then is certainly not the public works that exist today. Public works has been phased out year after year after year. The amount of persons that is to gain some kind of meaningful employment at public works, it is down to the count on your fingers now. And I want us to consider that in moving forward. There's a final point that I want to take us on that paper before I put down that paper. It says, corruption must exist when the minister in defense of the sales of passports says they are fugitives and not criminals. That's the last point I want to leave us with tonight on that paper. It says, corruption must exist when the minister in defense of the sales of passports says they are fugitives and not criminals. So that was the tagline, that was the pinning that the Dominican Labour Party back then placed on a government and said, they said these persons that they were selling passports to, they were not criminals, they were just fugitives. Folks, there's much more. There's much more in that paper to be digested, but as we go forward in the Every Saturday Live, we will be digesting much more material in that paper. All right? So I just want to ask us to pay attention as we move across to information coming from way back 20 years. And we'll be doing some contrasting and comparing as to what is happening today. So I hope that was a good little teaser, a good little appetizer. And now your appetite is open for the main course that we have prepared for you tonight. The chef is here. So the chef is here. I will now abide by what the chef is going to say tonight. Chef Bruno is here. Bruno, you are late.
Yes, brother. No, I did indicate to our viewers that it would have been 8.
Come a little more in the frame.
Depends on how quick you get through in what you were doing. So I give them up to 8, 8:30, up to even 9 o'clock. But I'm happy that you were able to make it on time. Yeah, so let me say good evening to all of you and all of the viewers, all of our friends, and all of your contacts, Lofty. I'm on Lofty page tonight. So let me say welcome to all of you, and I have my colleague here, Lofty. And Lofty, this morning, today is St. Kitts Day of where they observing their hero. And I use the opportunity to also extend, my gratitude to the many heroes in Dominica as well. And but I didn't want to call name because it would have been so much of a long list. But I think one of the first names that I wanted to call was you. And Blessings and John and so many. But anyway, I don't want to, it's so many heroes that we have in Dominica to recognize. And kudos to Felix. Blessings to you for your service that you've rendered to Dominica. One of our heroes as well. Yeah, so Lofty, I'm happy that we can continue the struggle, we can continue the fight, and we can continue to fight together. We have fight many battles, not for ourselves only, but on behalf of the people of Dominica, and we continue to do so. Notwithstanding the little busy moment that we have to make ends meet, but we always make time to connect with our brothers and sisters at home and abroad, and to really take on the issues head on with bold bravery and courage. And we always, you know, say that we will never relent until Dominica has been delivered and returned back to right order. And at this point in time, now is the time when we really need all hands on deck. Whether you are labor right, you are security right, you are freedom right, you are workers right, we need all Dominicans at this point to step up to the plate, because if you notice what is happening right now is just turmoil. And the leader, the person who allegedly purporting to be the leader of this country, I am telling you, he's totally confused, and this whole country is in a confused state of mind. And we want to bring that country back into a preparedness, into a right frame of mind, stabilize this country and bring this country back to right order. So, and Lofty, I am grateful for the service that you have been doing. I always say, I always admire you. You have courage, and this is a man, when he tell you he going to do something, he will get it done. He will go the extra mile. So he's a brother that we have to really cherish, and we have to give him our best, the best love that we can render to this man, because I mean, he has done a lot. We have done a lot, and I want to congratulate him and continue to encourage him. Don't give up the battle, because we haven't reached to the end yet. The end is almost there, but we haven't there yet. We haven't been there yet. So we're going to continue that fight. And every day when I see the young people coming to me, and the different people that come into me, and you can see that there is a craving within them on their face, their expression, that they need some relief, they need some help, they need some assistance. And that is why we making it a point of duty, irrespective of the time, to be connected with you after it tonight, on to whatever time we choose to end. So I am happy to be in your company, and I trust that you are happy to be in our company. Yeah, Lofty.
All right, Bruno, again. Just call him terminal. All right, folks. Yes, I want to again applaud the effort of Mr. Bruno. But let us get into the meat of things now. Somebody was just trying to get me on my live a while ago, so really just trying to make sure that you're still on my live. Okay. Folks, we have two issues that we really want to exhaust a bit tonight, kind of go deeper into it tonight. We have this outstanding scandal that I call it, where Roosevelt Skerritt, the man who is in the seat of the prime minister position in Dominica, folks, he's living in a house at Mont Daniel and is asking the tax of us, of we the taxpaying public, to pay $64,000 and change for him to live in what many persons believe to be his house. We went through that road already, and we are telling Roosevelt Skerritt that he should not be made to feel comfortable. Tell him we'll call him after.
We'll call you after. We do not like this.
He should not be made to live comfortable in that house on our $64,000 a month. Because that is a very bad thing at this time. It is an unjust situation. Very much so. And that topic, we will stay on it until we get results. Up till now, there's no stimulus package for Dominicans in a very meaningful way. Absolutely none. On the contrary, this guy Bruno told bus drivers, told hoteliers, told persons in the small business sector to go and take loan at Bank to try to put their lives back together. That is what Roosevelt Skerritt has done. And on the contrary, instead of he saying, you know something, let me go and try and make myself back in Vickers on a property that belongs to me, he has imposed himself in a very selfish way on the backs of Dominicans in a mansion up at Mount Daniel, where it's on the record that his wife family passed over or how you say, gave over lands to his wife, Melissa Skerritt. So he's living in a palatial mansion, in a very big house. You understand? And opposite to where he's living, or adjacent to where he's living, this land is now owned by his wife through some donation or whatever it is, or some passing over from the parents of the wife to the wife. And we heard this scandal that broke out even when we went through, or even when they went through that process, by underpaying the treasury of Dominica. And this man continues to rob Dominica in the wrong way. I don't know if there's a right way to rob, but he's robbing Dominica in the wrong way. Everywhere Roosevelt Skerritt turned to do something for himself, we have to check it and cross-check it and even recheck it, because there's always some cocoa macaque happening where this guy is concerned. And so we have to keep that on the front burner. We have to keep it there. You know the amount of changes these guys had already made to that Mount Daniel vicinity where he's living, folks. Earl, I'm not asking you. I'm telling you, Roosevelt Skerritt put, how you call it, about two, how they call it, sleeping police. All right, sleeping police, speed bumps. Two sleeping police, two speed bumps in the driveway going down in his yard. Two of them. When there are many places in Dominica that needs one speed bump and they cannot get half a speed bump. But he have two going down in his driveway. As to whatever he want to slow down inside there, I really don't know. But two. There are some poles. I don't know which company or which country gave us those poles to erect street lights around Dominica. Most of you living on the island would have seen them on the west coast and going up Pocassi. Those white poles, I would want to think is the Chinese, yes. Yes, the Chinese that gave that to us. Because one of them broke, I think, going up Red Gully area. I don't know if you saw that one. And I stopped and took a picture of the diameter of the metal. It is 1/8 thick. You have that pole about what, 30 feet in high. Yeah. And the base of that pole, where 4 bolts are locking it to the concrete base, the thickness of that metal that pole is going up is 1/8 thick. Those of you in the construction industry, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Just 1/8, just a little, you understand? So even those poles are so inferior. And so we are not getting value in Dominica, folks. And even one of those poles, I can confirm to you, he took one of those poles for himself, placed it at the entrance of his driveway, and have how many cameras installed on that pole? When you pass in the vicinity of Skerritt's mansion, he must know you passed there. You understand? He has them pointing north, south, east, and west, and even in the vertical direction. So basically, he has now placed himself, hid himself away from the Dominican people up at Mount Daniel. That is one of the telling signs or the evidence of a dictator. Just want to milk the country dry. But to mingle with the people, no. It is only around election time they normally come and pull wool over your eye by saying, look, or I love you, or I this, or I whatever it is. And that is the example that is unfolding right now before our very eyes. He took himself and secluded himself in a hole at the back there in Mondania. And have our lawmen up and down that hill every day. Have a bunker in that basement for them to do their do. And I don't know what you feel about that, but I am a Dominican. I'm feeling very disturbed. I am annoyed about that level of lavish lifestyle that Roosevelt Skerritt want to leave on we, the backs of Dominican people. If you go across the region, you hear any kind of cuts that people are making. Leaders are making, a matter of fact, in terms of proper governing of their country. You're hearing, they're trying their best, especially amidst this COVID-19 era. But in Dominica, it is the opposite. These guys thrive on bleeding the country, fleecing the country. And it is like all is well with some of us Dominicans. But I am here to tell us tonight, Earl is here to tell us tonight, all is not well. So that $64,000 and change every month, folks, as one of his labor rights persons said, it is a strain, and it is a serious strain on the backs of we, the struggling people in Dominica. It is a strain. It is a strain. I saw a photo circulating around yesterday on social media about Angela Merkel in Germany. How simple of a life that lady as a leader is living. She's going into her own groceries. She's basically re-wearing some of her clothing. But when Roosevelt Skerritt come out, you saw it around the election time. The price tag that goes with that man dressing, just his dressing. And had some kind of foolishness talking about pink shoe. And the pink shoe, yes, it came with a price.
Big one too, eh?
With the goat head or Bahutet head or whatever it had on it. This devilish sign. And so, folks, sometimes when I speak about this situation, it really hurts me to see where Dominica is today. The once pride of the Caribbean. But it really hurts me. And I'm telling us Dominicans, we need to come together to save that land. It is past time, folks. It is past time. It is past time. So that $64,000 and change mansion every month on the backs of a struggling economy and people, it cannot stand, it should not stand, folks. How many businesses in Dominica that is making $64,000 a month? Businesses I'm talking about. Big businesses now. How many? Or what passes for big businesses in Dominica? We ain't talking about the medium-sized businesses as yet. How many of those businesses in Dominica that is making even $30,000 a month? How many of the small businesses now that keeping the economy afloat that is even making $10,000 a month? Or sometimes even $5,000 a month? How many of those businesses, folks? And this man has the gall, the unmitigated gall, I must say, to want to come and take from a struggling economy pretty close to $70,000 a month. If that is not bordering on evil, my friend, I don't know what will or what is.
Just showing all viewers.
I don't know. But we have to keep the fire on that. We cannot let it go, my friends. If we let it go, it is to our demise. It is to a future demise. It is to a country demise. We should never let that go. We should never. Earl, I know you're there with me, brother. I can talk for the whole night, but you know, please share your heart with the people.
No,
brother.
I mean you're going well. You're going well. And I mean we just warming up. Yeah, Lofty. I heard you were saying earlier on that that thing hurts you, Lofty, and it's no joke, you know, it's no doubt about it. And I'm very much passionate about it because when we have to think of the manner in which this man continued to launder and plunder and squander Dominican resources, whereby the people continue to struggle. My brothers, Dominicans have it so hard. I mean, it is getting harder and harder every day. The world, things getting tough. And I'm still seeing the man continuing with the same ratio to plunder Dominican resources, you know. I mean, in a crisis like now, you're not even suspending the foreign contractors. You have so many contractors, so much contractors in the Maho constituency. You have NH right there by the gas station down in Jimmy, setting up a new facility under our resources, under our tax money, our passport money. And our contractors, our tradesmen not working, not getting work to do. But Roosevelt's carry continuing to squander our monies. And we're still not getting angry, we're still not vexed, but I tell them I'm an angry man because I cannot live in a country to have one man allowing two Arabs to destroy a country, you know. Like, Lofty, you realize that Roosevelt Skerrit is not the leader of this country? It's Tony Astafan and Anthony Hayden that are making the shot in Dominica. I mean,
well, though they may be calling the shots, which I agree with you, but he's in the seat.
Well,
and he has to get the fire, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, yes, he has to get the fire but they're like a clone right now. Before, it's like Skerrit almost cannot make a decision on his own. You have to call Tony, whether you're sleeping or whatever you're doing. Tony is man, I telling you, the people.
But Bruno, we have to continue, my brother. We have to continue in the struggle. No struggle was ever won sitting down, folks. No struggle was ever won lying down. No struggle was never won with that kind of docile mindset like some of us have in Dominica. We have to gird our loins. We have to tie our waists and be ready to defend this land at any cost. That is our Dominica, and that is where our navel string, most of us navel string, bury. And if we cannot defend this land, we will not be going anywhere else to defend any land. Our ancestors did it on our behalf. We're supposed to be true to our ancestors by walking or doing in their stead what they did for us. Some of us came in this blessed land and grew up and just know Dominica to be that lovely island, but persons died, persons bled, persons fought, persons sweat, persons toiled to keep this land in a shape, in a fashion, in a manner, so that we today could be enjoying a certain kind of lifestyle. So we should not take it for granted, folks. If we are not prepared to use what we have, be prepared to lose it. And that is how it is. That is how it is. All freedom fighters know the value of a country or their country. We knew of these leaders all around the world when they spoke about their country with that level of pride and dignity and you know, you could see or you could hear in their voice that jubilant nature. They feel part and parcel of their country. Franz Fanon once said, each generation must, out of relative obscurity, find its mission, and they can either fulfill their mission or they can betray their mission. He said each generation, but I am telling us tonight, folks, every one of you, each of us, out of relative obscurity, though the future may be looking bleak, it may be looking dim, it may be looking grim, but each one of us in Dominica, those of you who call yourself Dominicans and living abroad, your country needs you now. So you must find your mission. Every one of us is here on this planet for mission. We have to find our mission. We cannot just be living. No. We have to find our mission in life. And whatever it is, be prepared to fulfill that mission of yours in your country's benefit and interest. And once you do that, then your country will be smiling. Your children, your grandchildren, your future it will be a bright and prosperous future. But if we just sit back and play as if, well, you know, c'est ça pour faire. No, we have to do our part. We should not just pass through this life and agree that is it. No, we have to leave our mark. And if you are not prepared to leave your mark, I am not calling it for you, but it's better you ask God to call you home, because you'll be just like a walking zombie. You have to be prepared, folks. And that is the encouragement I really, every time, really want to give all of us, is to find our mission and be prepared to fulfill it. Whatever your life is worth, whatever it is, let us do it with vigor. And it is not tomorrow we're talking about. Yesterday is long gone. We're talking about the now. Find it, folks. Find it.
Lofty.
That is what we have.
Yeah, you talk about...
Just before I wind up, just before you come in. That's $63,000, folks. Not $64,000 and change. That's $64,000 and change, folks, we're talking about in Dominica. Let us do the maths. Let us do the maths. Every year, scare it alone through the rent or the alleged rent, because I'm hearing other things. So we'll say alleged rent for now. Through the alleged rent, he is raking out from the treasury $771,000 every year. Every year, $771,000 and counting. And they said, Reggie Austri said, that rent is for 2 years in the first instance, meaning they sign contract for 2 years. So folks, multiply that 771 by 2. We're talking about $1.5 million. 2 years. 2 years, 1.5 million, just like that. Just for Mr. Scary to stay in a house. When he have a house, he say in his name in Vegas. He have land in Trafalgar. He could build the land Marina gave him. And he didn't declare. There's property up at, where's that place? Monbruce. State property up at Monbruce. Where he could build and be living comfortable on state property with the same level of luxury. But no, he decided to go in Mount Daniel, hide himself away from his people, and be living that extraordinary lifestyle. And you know what? Some sycophants, let me not describe them like that tonight, but sometimes it really sickens me sometimes to hear some people try to defend that level of corruption. Oh, the Prime Minister deserves the best. Deserves the best in what? You don't deserve the best as well? The best doesn't necessarily mean you have to be ripping the treasury like that, my friend. You can get the best and still be living comfortable. The Commonwealth of Dominica is supposed to mean something, folks. It is not just a name that our forefathers just put there just like, no, it means something. When you hear the Commonwealth of Dominica, it says something. The Commonwealth says the wealth of the country supposed to be shared among the common people. That's what it means. The Commonwealth of Dominica. But when you have a one man and his gang taking the cream of the crop, and the rest, the masses they call them, have to be struggling to make ends meet on a daily basis. That cannot be right. And I don't care what nobody tell me. That math's not adding up. It pasa. It's not adding up. So folks, we have to continue to do whatever we have to do to save our land from Roosevelt, Skerritt and company. This guy is a very dangerous man. He's a danger to himself and a danger to Dominica. And the quicker, yes, I say it, the quicker we can ensure that this guy is not sitting in the seat of Prime Minister, the better for our Dominica and our Dominica's future. Let me pass you on to the chef for the night.
Love you. You make mention of Skerritt is the man in the seat and he should get the fire. Now I was showing our viewers a few photos where I believe, now I'm going to put some fire on him, whereby I believe that is why he should not be in the office. That's why I cannot call him a prime minister. I can't call him the leader of this country. He has lost control. I mean, it's not just now, especially to the last general election, how he disrespect us. He disrespect the rule of law, the constitution, and he just go ahead and do what he wanted. I'm watching that photo there with Ali Reza, Montferrat, Alec Lawrence, Emmanuel Nanton from North, cutting cake with Montferrat. Now Montferrat is sentenced for 20 years in Iran. You see his uniform? He's fully uniform up in the jail. Facing 20 years. And they knew that man was on the run. They still allow this man to reach down in Dominica. Mondaniel, the same Mondaniel is so much in love with. He's so upset about Mondaniel now. Obsessed about Mondaniel now. And I'm saying, this man knew this man was a criminal on the run. Give him a diplomatic passport, you know. They have double violation. On the international scene, you're not supposed to sell the diplomatic passport. However, if you're doing it, make sure the person is clean, is really committing an offense, an international offense. You're still doubling the offense, tripling the offense by a man that is wanted by the most superpowers of the world, by America, by UN, by Interpol, and you give him a diplomatic passport. He was there. You facilitate him to escape today, you still there want to making the shots in Dominica, in our government, in our office. I cannot have Roosevelt Skerrit in the office of governance in Dominica. And that is why I will keep telling Roosevelt Skerrit that he needs to tender his resignation with immediate effect. And I cannot wait for the day to wake up like a Monday morning, where people would go and sleep for the weekend and wake up Monday morning. And when I look to my phone, I already seen a tsunami of people in Roseau, in the streets of Roseau, and here in all streets of Dominica being shut down, and no plane moving, no plane coming in, nothing, no boat coming in, no boat going out. Nothing not coming in, nothing not going out until we hear that Roosevelt Skerrit table his resignation with immediate effect. That is all I'm waiting for, you know. It could happen Monday. This Monday coming there, it could happen. But the people have to go and sleep over the weekend and wake up fresh and decide, yeah, man, I'm going to do it for my country. It are people of the inside of Skerrit that are not in sync with him all now. But what you waiting for? You cannot get nothing now. You see the flow of the CBI, of the passport money and the diplomatic passport money, all that has been subsided, that has been frozen. It's scraping, it's grappling. He used this word earlier on, whereby he knew that it's not just COVID-19 that would have make us grappling now, you know. From the time Ross left, there was already a big void. And to add insult to injury, COVID-19 shut down the world. And the world economy now is in turmoil. And our own now is already shut down. Lo and behold, you telling me that you're still asking us under the circumstances that we're in, that economic crisis, where you spend $29 million of the people money, the state money, who give you the authority, under what authority, and you and Anthony Hayden have, under what rule of the Constitution, under what section of the Constitution that gave all you the mandate or the power to be able to use the state resources in a manner in which that all you went and spend the people money without any major accounting or checks and balances for the people money. $29 million. And you're asking the poor people that don't have money, that not making money, to pay $64,000. Come on. In which part of the world can that take place? I'll call you back. In which part of the world can that happen? I don't want to say, people say in Dominica not a real country. Well, I am a real man. And I am not no clone. And I am not no fake. And I don't think Loftus is no clone or Loftus is no fake. And I believe that it is more than high time that we let Skerrit know that this country belonging to all of us, and we go into network that movement. And I am happy that there are many groups that are being formed and that are mobilizing and organizing. If you all think that Concerned Citizen Movement was the lone group to stand on behalf of Dominica, I mean civic group, minded group, well, I have news for all you. There are several different groups around Dominica that are already formed and are continuing to form. And that is what we were looking for all along. So when we merge together, that is what we want, a force to be reckoned with. Because Dominica, the people of Dominica are suffering. Businesses on the verge of closing, you know. and businesses are on the verge of sending our young brothers and sisters at home, and they're allowing Roosevelt Kerry to use the people money, to use the state money. There is no clause in the Constitution that give him the right to do what he's doing there. By and large, there is clause in the Constitution to pick him up, because he failed and he infringed. And we still want to play soft game, soft ball, soft politics, soft talk. We want to be a vampire in things, polishing things. I no longer can polish anything in Dominica. After 20 years, this whole regime, particularly scary, that man go overboard. It's time for the man to go. And people want to polish things and nice up things and say, you cannot say it so, you must not say it so, you should do it so, you should do it. No. This is serious time. And guess what? Lofty, I don't know if you come across that already. The king, people talking about violence, as if violence is a new thing for them, or so much as a bad thing. But the kingdom of heaven suffer violence. When Lucifer wanted to think as if he in charge, he in control, like scary thing, he in charge and he in control, and he want to rule us. And they have two Arabs making me shots, and to tell black people whom they know they will never be able to control, that they that want to be making the shot. Well, let me tell you what happened. Violence take it by force. And we, the people of Bala, Jaco, Kongari, Fasel, Negmao, we will throw ourselves we will come out from the training that we get from our ancestors, from the jungle. Not only regiments, and they must bear in mind, they're not the only set of people that train in jungle, you know. Remember, there are several jungles across the globe. We will emerge the spirit, we will call the spirit of our ancestors as to how they do it, to come inside us, for us to demonstrate. That thing about protest, there are protest, as if, well, we go into a procession in our church, as if we're going to carry somebody to bury it in the cemetery. That has to cease, you know. We need to move from protest to demonstration, you know. And that is what Dominica need. We need all we need now is the numbers to be out there, and it's about demonstration. Mr. Them think that they're going to stay there forever. Back to you, Lofty.
You know, the numbers that you're talking about, that is good to talk about it, but I think the Dominican people by and large have been, how do you call it, how do I want to say it, wandering along for too long. I think the energy is there on the ground. All that energy needs is effective leadership to guide it, to steer it. And because I see Dominica as a country, just in terms of an illustration of lions, but you have a sheep, or sheep rather, leading lions. And what you get with that formula, you get lions who will partake on their leader, which is a sheep, and have sheep-like mentality. On the contrary, if you have a pack of sheep and you have a leader in a lion, these sheep or sheep-like people will automatically take on the characteristics of the leader. And sad to say, that is what I believe is lacking in Dominica. You have, everybody's talking, but there's very little people who have the foresight, who have the whatever it takes to see the end game. What is playing out now, to see the end of that. And so I think it's effective leadership that is needed now to move Dominica from where it is now to where we all desire. That is my prognosis of the matter. That is where I see it, and that is how I'll call it. And unless and until the leaders in Dominica now don't take a stand for what they believe in and be prepared to lead, then we will always be in that predicament. As a leader, you have to be leading from the front. And leading from the front doesn't necessarily you have to be on the front line. But you have to be able to do whatever it takes to provide that level of leadership. And Labour Party coined it very well. They may not be acting it out well, but they coined it out very well. Leadership is everything. And the good old saying, the good old fable is still true today. Divided a people will fall, and united that same people will stand. Dominica right about now, we are too divided as a people. And I want to use this medium tonight to say that publicly. Dominicans by nature, some of us, I put in myself in it because I am a Dominican, we are too hypocritical. And that is why we are where we are. We are good at tearing down, we are good at pulling down, but we are not good builders. And we need to put that in check, people. We need to stare at ourselves in a mirror and see where we need to pull up our socks and do what it takes to build that country. Because if we continue on that same path, in that same trajectory on which we are on, we will talk to death and nothing will happen. We need to come around to bury some of the hatchets that have haunted us too long, as families, as communities, and as a country. We need to do that. We need to do that, folks. That is one of the ways that we can start to fix our problem in Dominica, is by looking at people's strength and giving them, offering them more strength. And looking at their weaknesses and trying to pull them up, trying to make their weakness not a sickness, but make their weakness part of their strength. That is what it is. And once you have that level of division that goes on among a people, obviously, you will always have people at the helm now taking full advantage of that. And so sometimes we really blame Roosevelt and this corrupt bunch. But we have to look, we have to do some introspection. Look deep within and find what we need to do in order to take us out of that cesspool. That is me. I'm really speaking my heart tonight to Dominicans. I'm on the ground and I'm seeing it, I'm feeling it. I know my 5 fingers on my hand, they are not same length. So all of us will never be seen eye to eye on some subjects or some situations or whatever it is. We are all different people, different emotions, different characteristics. That's fine. But there must be a common ground, folks. There must be a common ground in the interest of our country and our country's future. We have to be able to say, you know something? That is good for Dominica, and let us rally around that and move on. And unless we can get to that point as individuals first, so that can resonate and permeate through communities of families and then the wider country, we will always be stuck in that perpetual mode. And even if this, what passes for governance or government today, would clear the way, and we don't do what we have to do internally, to do that cleansing internally, to do that, how you call it, that total kenosis, meaning the cleansing from inside out. If we don't do that purging, another government may even be worse, because the same or even worse ground is there for that kind of infestation of what we are going through today. And so I always like to take it back sometimes to biblical times. Israel wanted a king, the Bible said. They got a king. They got that king, but to their own peril, to their own demise. They got their heart's delight, but it was to their own demise. And so when we heard in 2003, 2004, give the young man a chance, I am prepared to say tonight, we asked for a king symbolically, and we are reaping the rewards thereof today. But like Israel of old, they wailed and they gnashed their teeth. They went through their persecution on the soul. But when they realized and recognized that they were going under, they had to give him up. So our day will come when we will be giving up the ghost, as it were, of that symbolical king. But again, if we are not prepared to ensure that that change that we also desire in terms of the betterment of our country, Dominica, we ain't going nowhere. So I just want to ask us first, please, to do whatever we have to do on self. Because unless self is not right, unless self is not a vessel to be used, can't go nowhere. And that's just how it is. So looking at the big picture, looking at the politics or the partisan politics of the day, some of us make a bouillon of it. So we use the issues of the day, some of us, as the sticking point that keeps us going, and the catalyst that keeps us going and going and going. Not taking time off to do that internal dissecting of ourselves. So we look at the beam in our brother's eye, in our sister's eye, but we don't look at the mote in our eye. And I think that is where we as a country need to pull up our socks in that department. Because I dare say, even if our dreams and aspirations would be fulfilled by getting rid of evil A, we may just be opening up ourselves now to evil be, which may be of a greater magnitude, a greater proportion, if we are not ready to demonstrate or put into practice what we are talking about. That's just what it is. Earl, we need to go on Mr. Byron. What's the time? Sorry, what's the time?
9:21.
9:21.
You ready for him?
8 to 10, I think
You
that's
going there
8 to 10. I think that is a
Are
reason.
we using it for the last? We'll leave it for.
No, what I'm saying, 8 to 10 is a reasonable time for audience. 8 to 10. To me, 2 hours is good enough. So it's in at the 20 past 9 already, right? We can, if whatever you want to butt in now and say fine, but I think by 9:30 we're supposed to be able to touch on Mr. Byron.
Okay.
And wrap up things for the night, because I am one that like to give medication or prescription in dose.
Yeah.
I don't like to give, So feel free
to run under
whatever is on your mind now, but we're going into Byron after for sure.
Well, Lofty, like I was saying, we have been doing our best with Dominica. I mean, we make the sacrifice, and many of us make the sacrifice, And had many of us stay faithful, I think we would have overcome already. But along the way in this struggle, we have too many people falling out along the wayside. Let me tell you, when you give your commitment into something and you plunge into a sacrifice, you must maintain that. And that is what we need now. We're calling for people to have mental toughness and discipline. That thing about backing down there, no. We're falling too fast. That money thing, their money is just like the wind. Don't make these men, our same tax, make us fall prey, make us become unfaithful, unloyal. We need to maintain our stature. We need to maintain our discipline. We need to maintain that stand. We have put our hands to the plow. We make all the necessary sacrifice. I could have been into greener pastures for more than 10 years now. And I choose to stay there and suffer the affliction of the people of Dominica and make that sacrifice. And I don't care. But I mean, I want to see my country, the land of my birth, do well like other countries. You understand? I work outside of Dominica and I develop in other countries with some major infrastructures. And I'm saying to myself, but why can't I do that in my country? And for the past 10 years, I've been getting the call to be in big countries, even up late. And I chose to be here, to make that sacrifice, to save our land. And that's why I will continue to do it fearlessly, because I can't see my brethren, my brothers and sisters struggle so hard, where life is so short, we're passing through. But in the meantime, while we're on this earth, and we just are passing through, we can enjoy it to the max. It cannot be one man for 20 years believe that he's the only person that can be the prime minister in his party. So nobody else cannot see themselves to have that in their CV, or to have that behind their name, that they serve as a prime minister, a sworn-in prime minister, not just a minister, but a prime minister in their country. Only you. That is too much, man. That is selfish. And guess what? Roosevelt Skerrit will make the shots at all times. he will take out that minister there, put that minister. Say he don't want that candidate, put that candidate. But who touching scary? It's like nobody, and guess what? You sit one will make you form the government. So all of them win. All of you win your seat. How is that? It's one man that have the say, and you like a boy under him. Reggie, my good friend, and several others in that administration. But lucky last night on my live, I give them an ultimatum. I tell them, listen, they have this opportunity to come clean, and they have to join us. They need to join us, and doesn't matter how much sin they commit, but we will be able to forgive them for the sin that they has committed to Madam Nick. Work with them, we'll have their back, we will shield them, we'll do whatever with it, but they have to come clean now. They have to be able to help we the people of Dominica, and we'll be able to help them. Roosevelt Skerrit put himself in a quagmire, he can accommodate. In the center of that swamp, in that muddy state, he can accommodate there. Especially, you see that mansion, that bunker he went to build up in Mondanel, that finished plunge him. In other words, it's just his nose that is above that muddy swamp. He put himself in real trouble. And there is nothing that you can do in terms of saying you're going to be able to help Roosevelt Skerrit, because Roosevelt Skerrit doesn't learn, he doesn't understand, and he have Anthony Hayden and Anthony Waddy McIntyre controlling him. So he don't have a mind or a brain of himself. And that is why I will continue to call on the immediate resignation of this man who hijacked the people will and the people progress and development in this country. I think Loftus enough said on that, and we can move to the real issue. The real issue that
the issue on our plate.
Yeah, that issue. One there. Because roughly 12 o'clock we used to be on the road, I remember. 1 o'clock, sometimes as we reach, we start into snow, we tired. All the way vehicles, plane, Portsmouth, we run, we navigate wrong Dominica, educating our people, telling our people, look, we will collapse if we continue on that road, on that path that we go in the manner in which Roosevelt Skerrit running this election and this country. We will collapse. And when we collapse, we will not be able to come out easily like that. And today, we are in another predicament. We are in another saga, my God, fighting for free and fair elections in Dominica. Lofty, I giving you the opportunity to open the batting on that.
No, just before I open the batting on that, I just want to alert our person's viewing very first. Let me assure you folks that we always appreciate your listening, your ears, your prayers as well. We always appreciate everything that you can do for your country. We are supposed to be in this thing together. So I know most of you there, if all of you could be somewhere else, doing something else tonight than looking at this in terms of information as it is being dispensed about Dominica's predicament, where we want our country to go. So I really, myself and Earl, really appreciate you up with us, whatever it is in your neck of the wood at this time. I call some of you the usual suspects because you are always there. You always make the time, even if you don't have time. So we really do appreciate that.
Indeed, indeed.
Yesterday, folks, yesterday the world was celebrating a day, And that day was supposed to be among all other days that the world normally celebrate. World Democracy Day. World Democracy Day is celebrated around the world every 15th of September of every year. It may fall on a different day every year, but the date remains constant. And for the life of me yesterday, I heard not a drum beat about World Democracy Day in Dominica. And that tells me something as a citizen of a country that is parading itself as a democracy. It speaks volumes to me. Because whatever is dear to somebody, they will make time for it. Whatever is dear to a country, similarly, they will make time for it. And World Democracy Day, gone like a candle in the wind yesterday, that was never lit. And I heard absolutely no mention of Dominica celebrating with the world World Democracy Day. And that, as I said, to me says a lot, folks. When you have a government that will be in power and not even care to highlight the democracy that the world and itself should be celebrating, it says something. On the contrary, what we were hearing in Dominica yesterday was certain sections of the society in Dominica wants to shut down part of our democracy where free speech is concerned, which is, by the way, protected by the Constitution of Dominica. So that is what we had discussing yesterday. And if that section of society did not even understand that those pronouncements were being made on a day that the world set aside to help preserve democracies around the world, then again it tells me something that goes on into these people's mind. And so we continue to watch in Dominica how this, what we call our democracy, how it is unfolding. But again, it is up to us to ensure that our democracy stays afloat. I know some of you can maybe hear our crickets in the back. They are companies tonight.
And nature, man, that is.
You're seeing them flying in the lights and all around.
Just telling that's the beauty of nature.
That is all part of Dominica.
Yeah.
All right? That is all part of Dominica.
You can hear that in some countries, Loftus.
Even by staying still and listening properly to these little creatures in the night, it too can be therapy. All right? But let us now get into the final chapter for tonight as we bring this discussion to a close in a bit. We have on our hand a man by the name of Mr. Dennis Byron. A lot of people said he's a legal luminary. He was the past president of the CCG at one time. And he's on his way to Dominica to come and make recommendations for us in Dominica where elections or the electoral process is concerned. Now, One would think that Mr. Dennis Byron, being that scholarly man that he is in the field of law and legal matters, he would have first analyzed it along those lines to see exactly what he's coming to Dominica to do upon the invitation by Roosevelt Skerrit. If that in and out of itself is in right order. So that is point number one. Now, if when, what's his name, Byron, put that under the microscope, under his microscope, and he see, you know something, that is not right. Something is fishy about that. Or acquaint himself with our constitution, in particular our electoral laws, where it says in section 56 and number 11 that our electoral commission, people, it is the sole body or sole organization that's supposed to be doing, requesting, recommending, whatever in when it pertains to election or electoral matters. It's supposed to be controlled by nobody, absolutely no one. Nobody's supposed to force themselves on the commission. That is what it says in print, black and white, in our constitution. I'm not no legal mind, but God gave me common sense. And that common sense tells me that what Mr. Byron is coming to do here, it is basically to infringe upon that section of our constitution, where he is coming basically to take the place of our commission and recommend ways to them that our system can be improved. And not only that, adding insult to injury by the request of the person who is in government, who is a party in power that is not supposed to be controlling in either way, shape, or form the commission. So Mr. Roosevelt Skerrit, in his usual deceptive ways, always look at ways or come up with ways, cunningly that is, to go around the reading and the proper interpretation of our laws in Dominica. And we all heard him on election or the day before election day in 2009. We all heard him. And from since that day, a lot of folks have been trying to come and interpret what he said. But the spoken word is the spoken word. And unless an apology is given by the bearer of the spoken word, it stands. And up till this day, Roosevelt Skerrit has yet to come and say, you know something, public Dominicans, I apologize. Or I misspoke. Or I spoke out of turn. Or it was just in the heat of the moment, or this or that. Nothing like that. But you have his apologies coming every day to try to interpret what he said. When he said, no law. What does no law mean? No law means no law. No law means no law. So no law cannot mean some law. No law can mean piece of a law. No law means no law. So no law, not even the constitution that we are talking about now, section 56, number 11. He said not even that will prevent he, Roosevelt Skerrit, from being a candidate in the 2009 general elections. Nobody could stop that. And when that was said, a lot of people took umbrage by that statement. But again, it was said. And so to come down to what we're discussing now where Byron is concerned, Skerrit always have a way of going around our prescribed laws. And to get a man like Byron, a man that's supposed to be or can be Skerrit father, to get a man of that caliber, intellectually that is, legally that is, folks, intertwine, get him trapped, get him in that poor mess, in inviting him here in Dominica to come and recommend ways to make our laws better. I am telling Mr. Byron, he is already starting off on the wrong foot. And Mr. Byron, sir, I hope you get that live and you see it and you digest it for what it is, brother. I don't hate you. I don't know you to hate you. But I'm just telling you, what you are coming to do in Dominica, you should rethink it. Because if by now, and your name has been in the media all across the region, saying you're coming to Dominica to make recommendation, and by now you have not studied that situation and call Roosevelt and say, Roosevelt, thank you, but no thank you, then you have already implicated yourself, my brother. And even coming on top of that, today, we are being reliably informed in Dominica, sir. We saw a note emanating out of the CABSEC office that you are prepared to take from the Treasury 450,000 EC dollars over a period of 4 months, from September 1st to December 31st, to make recommendations, my brother. We are telling you that that is wrong. And we don't know how to tell it to you, in what other language to tell it to you. It is wrong, it is wrong, it is dead wrong. In Dominica presently, we don't have a functioning electoral commission. So who are you coming to recommend to? Who? We don't have a functioning electoral commission, brother. We don't. I am hearing from the grapevines, Charles Savre. I was going to give him a handle, but I leave out the handle for now. Charles Savre is finding difficulty, lots of difficulty, in coming up with an independent chairman. That's what I'm hearing from the grapevines. And my grapevine is always connected to the tree. He's having much difficulty in coming up with an independent person to chair that commission. Roosevelt Skerrit as Prime Minister, or in the seat of the Prime Minister, have nominated his two already. The opposition leader have already nominated his two already. So there are on fire, on record, 4 people. But the commission must be constituted with 5 members. And the commission, the commissioner in there is a vital position. The chairman is key. So we are still in a quagmire. We are in a mess. We are in a melee where our electoral commission is concerned, Mr. Byron. Skerrit said on the record, and I'm quoting him, when you make those recommendations, he is prepared to take those recommendations and go to Parliament with it. That's what Skerrit said. I hope nobody don't come and try and make apology for him. Absolutely no mention about our commission. Now I'm hearing all Doug, Cat, Harry, Joe, John running up now trying to say now, hey, when Byron makes his recommendation, it is only natural it will go to the commission. That is what the how you call it, the excusers or the sympathizers, they are coming up with. But Skerrit did not say that. Skerrit is the leader or the alleged leader of the country. And if the leader does not say that, who is me? Who is you to come and plug in something else that he did not say? The man said when those recommendations are made, he is prepared to take those recommendations to Parliament to give it the legislative legs that it needs to make them into law. Absolutely not a drumbeat about the Electoral Commission was mentioned. So how could in a country that is governed or supposed to be governed by laws have one man come out of St. Kitts as a judge, a retired judge, come to Dominica, get $450,000 out of the treasury when he's done? We have been told reliably that is. And then Skerrit in a wholesale manner, like he stole the election in a wholesale manner on the 6th of December, take those recommendations, wholesale stock and barrel, go to Parliament with it, and his rubber stamps in Parliament will say the ayes have it. Well, if we in Dominica are prepared to let that happen and not stand against that, it's better we tell Mr. Roosevelt Skerrit tomorrow morning he can take that constitution and burn it, because it's worth nothing to us if that should stand. There's an old saying, he who pays the piper calls the tune. That is what we are seeing playing out in our eyes, or before our eyes. Skerrit is paying, and he has called the tune. So I don't know if it's A sharp or C sharp or D minus, whatever it is, but he's calling the shots. Bruno, I don't know if you remember, June of 2019, when we had our last electoral reform rally by the Arch, when we brought that Antiguan guy, Mr. Anthony Stewart, to be our featured speaker, Skerrit wanted to throw a damper on that electoral reform rally. He came on DBS, the Nation station, and said, there's too much talk about electoral reform, and he's going to do something about it. He called in a joint mission made up of the OAS, CARICOM, and the Commonwealth Secretariat to come to Dominica. They did come. They had discussions with all stakeholders, or the majority of stakeholders in Dominica people. They made recommendations. And part of their recommendation was that some of the things that were supposed to be done before Skerrit stole the election, the man just dashed that aside. He just dashed it aside. Before he could even take it and massage it in his brain, before the Electoral Commission could even sit on it and make a statement to the public about their intention about those recommendations by that joint committee, he had his Attorney General, who's supposed to be working on the people's behalf, come out all guns blazing. We will remember that those recommendations were too expensive. That is what Levi said on the record. They would cause much confusion because there was insufficient time. The election was pending. And this guy just threw everything under the bus. So Skerrit told his observers, you know something? I invited you all here. You all made recommendations. I don't like it. And I'm just going to put that in cat litter. So get the hell out of my country. He didn't say that. I'm not quoting him, but that his actions meant that. I don't think he thanked the people for coming. I don't think so. Officially, that is. I did not hear it. We had a number of persons who met in Dominica already to make recommendations. We move away from the Privy Council under the quote-unquote guise or disguise. We want to rule ourselves. We want to be our own masters at interpreting our laws and doing our thing, and you know, where the legal aspect is concerned. We move away. And we have the CCG as our final court of appeal. We move away from that old system, we call it, to make laws for ourselves. And in the same breath, we have people in Dominica who toil, who work diligently, assiduously at putting minds and talents and skills and energies and competencies together to do something about our elections, where reforms and recommendations are concerned. These are just there as recommendations. Because why? The political will is not there to turn it into action. So how can we be so hypocritical in posture by wanting to rule ourselves in one instance where our legal aspect are concerned, and where our what pins our democracy together is our elections. We want outside foreigners, we want other people to come and make it on our behalf. Folks, all I'm telling us, let us be prepared to do something about our country. The talking and the education is good, but we have to prepare to do something about our country. And I'm very, very serious about it, folks. Dennis Byron, he knew fully well what he's coming there to do is to help Roosevelt and his gang break Dominica existing laws. And so, finally, if you are legal mind as you say you are, and you're worth your salt, please find it within yourself to tell Roosevelt Skerrit, I want to recuse myself from that matter. Because you would have been doing Dominicans an injustice, and you would have sure be doing your legacy injury, because that will go down in history as you not standing on the side of justice and truth that you try to hold up for a very long time in the legal circles. That is just my final parting thoughts for you tonight, Mr. Byron. That is just my final thoughts, brother. And I don't know how clear it can be, but we in Dominica reserve the right to stand for and on behalf of our Constitution. And wherever we see it is broken or it is about to be broken, we have the right to resist. And we are saying we are going to resist you and Skerritt's effort in a very, very wholehearted manner.
Thank you very much, Lofty. Lofty, after Maria, Hurricane Maria, the morning when we woke up, now, I mean, my vehicle was safe. It did not mash up. I mean, it get a few dents and a few little, bruises here and there. So, I was manning the shelter and, securing, taking care of the people in the village. When we decided to take a walk, we met a landslide. I think, no, it wasn't the same day, I think it was probably the next day, thereabout. But we wanted to start mobilizing, moving, and, getting things going because, people didn't really prepare for Maria in terms of food, and people was just... But there was that landslide that was blocking our way. And guess how we tackle that landslide? With our hands. We make way with our hands, digging soil, moving, clearing that landslide and clearing that road. So we'll be able to use my van to mobilize, to move here and there and do things, assist the people. So I'm saying that to say to Byron, I hear you putting a handle to his name. He destroyed that he don't have no handle now. A man cannot come into Dominica. For all these years, love to you, we have been on the road. We invite people from outside to come down to help us, to give us the ideas to how they go about with their electoral reform. And you make mention of the joint team that they brought down. I'm saying to this man that if you want to see Mon Jablote go down, flat down, you better stay where you are. Also, too, if you think what happened in how the people stand up for their right in Salisbury was a standoff, you don't see nothing yet. If you believe how the people of Marigot stood up for their democratic right, you don't see nothing yet. And I have a message for Roosevelt Skerritt, Anthony Hayden, and Tony McIntyre. And he seems to be the mastermind behind the machination to mash up and destroy the people of Dominica. I have news for you. You see this land? It have already fought wars, battles, and overcome. It have a history. And guess what? I suspect, or you are tempting us, therefore, that history will repeat itself. And you know what? If all you allow history to repeat itself in Dominica, you know what? It's going to be very, very, very brutal, because in the days back then, when those things happened in Dominica, it was not bad as now. It did not have all of the disrespect to the rule of law and the Constitution like it have now. I mean, see the amount of things that Roosevelt Skerritt, Anthony Hayden, and Anthony /McIntyre has done to Dominica. We're going to stay there and take that, brother. I tell you, the spirit of our ancestors is emerging in us. And I am saying to that man, you retire, partner, use your white socks and your slippers and your white pants and put your peep on the side and stay by the beach in your balcony in St. Kitts and enjoy your retirement until God call you home. But you see that land, you see treating and bribery, you, Tony Asaf and Skerrit and all you that behind to destroy Dominica, we will fight them. We will not take it. We're not going to take it like a sit dog. And that idea of people want to polish and say how much he was a good jurist, how much he served, and what he do. That has nothing to do with us in Dominica. Because as far as I'm concerned, he was serving when Skerrit was while Skerrit was in government, in the office, doing all of the machinations that he has done to the people of Dominica. Lo and behold, you retire. My boy, go on with your life. Live your life. And let us fight out our struggles. Let us overcome our struggles. We've been in that struggle for too long. We have had several years of fighting on the behalf of Dominicans.
Okay, 10 o'clock. So
yeah, to get free and fair elections in Dominica. And today, you want to come and try to interfere with our electors' laws in Dominica, our electoral laws in Dominica, because they know that their modus operandi is to destroy and to rig and steal elections in Dominica. And you know what they're behind? They are after treating and bribery. Because we stood at the front of this parliament and we decide that free reading not taking place in Dominica. We'll prefer be dead than that free reading take place in that parliament. And when we decide we go inside that parliament, action burst. So we are saying, partner, do not tempt we the people of Dominica. We are already on edge. And all we are saying is that we want free and fair elections. $500,000 to bring Byron to do what? We have an independent body already. What you going to bring Byron to tell us what? Where we have 3 major institutions that running, taking care of elections across the world, 180 something Commonwealth countries.
And they were prepared to do it free for us, eh?
Right.
No money was supposed to be coming from our treasury. They pledged to do it for us
on their own expense.
And they would inject the funds.
Right. And right now, you're telling me you're putting a burden on us of $500,000. And you have so much people, so much things that need to be addressed in Dominica that needs attention. You always crying that money is tight, this tight, but you finding money for you to be able to. You're spending $500,000 to go after what is right in our books, what is wrong in our books, to now legitimize it, to make it become law, to make it come right. Treating and bribery is a criminal act in our books. The criminal law, criminal activities, and you want to move it in our books to suit yourself. So this is where we are saying we need to stand up, and we are going to stand, and we will stand. Make no bones about it. He better change his mind. I am hearing that a portion of money has already reached to the man's desk, to the man's pocket, a retirement, and we have people that have brand new tires that their tires don't even roll in Dominica yet, that can do the job.
Yeah, we need to wind up.
Yeah.
Can't leave our people too long.
Yeah, well, I went in up, but we say, but they have to understand that we said that we will save in the last
The best for last.
The best for the last. And I that's my passion. There's no electoral. We have been fighting. So they have to bear too. They have to make the sacrifice as well, And we are making the sacrifice.
It's just that I'm a man of time, that's all.
Well, yeah, but yes, so they have to understand. I now interjecting my main focus, my main path, my main purpose there tonight, and I just winding up and
high gear.
Yes, I high gear because
by
I ready to wash him, Mr. And them I so upset about that thing there to you, Mr. Bringing a man to do foolishness, talk foolishness into the mind and the hearts of the people of Dominica, and yet you're still spending $500,000. I am upset. I'm upset, and I ready for me to go on the road, and I don't want to protest. It's right now I ready for demonstration. And tell a man come. When you say I come in with full force. Yes, Lofty, we can call it a day.
We have a fan base there. Let me take it on your phone.
Yeah.
Let's just touch our fan base before we leave. A lot of persons there with us tonight. Carla Guy, good evening to you. Carla is always there. Kovbut Tuse, Kovbut, good evening to you as well. Juanita Prince is watching as well. Juanita, good evening to you as well. Aura Button, that is one of the usual suspects, always there. Aura, thank you for your stance, that you keep taking fun on behalf of your country. Ezra Samuel, she sends some salutation our way. This, our brother here, Chris Buguno. Chris Buguno, good evening to you.
Yeah.
Always there on the ball. We have Mr. Lawrence, that's Marshall Lawrence. Marshall Lawrence. Good evening to you guys.
Lawrence.
Marilyn B. Marilyn it be cold. But she's up with us. Marilyn, good evening to you. What's the time? It's 10.
Up Marilyn, yeah.
10 and what? 10 and 5. So Marilyn, maybe like what? 3 o'clock now?
Yeah.
Wow, Marilyn, that is late to be up with us. But it's all good. It's all for country. Earl talked about sacrifice earlier.
Yeah.
Brother here, that brother is saying, wait a while now. Somebody's saying here, Thai Frank is always a good interactor on the live with us. He's saying here tonight that he's telling me that I leave the cap for Bruno tonight. I normally see me under my cap, but it's all good. It's all good. Marley Ostry, that is another solid suspect. Marlin, good evening to you as well. Earl Bruno is another suspect as well. Solid patriotic sister out there as well. Good evening to you. Marianne Pauli, good evening as well. Gabriel Leblanc is watching. Gabriel, good evening. Judith Giss. Lots of interaction on the chat tonight.
Yeah, a constant.
Elias Carbon watching as well.
To the live, Judith Giss.
Adelaide,
all live, eh?
Yeah, Adelaide Paul. Well, I normally see them on their live, so I know they are constant.
Yeah.
Adelaide Paul, another solid sister from Portsmouth as well.
Yeah,
always
solid. Good evening to you, sister. Salute you.
Here's another suspect. There's a Ronnie Matthew.
Solid guy as well.
Yeah, Ronnie Roy Matthew. Good evening to you, bro. Sandy Smith, always there for us as well. Good evening to you, Sandy. Keep up the good work. Roxanne Telemark is watching. John Alfred is watching. Good evening to you folks. Elizabeth, well, not Elizabeth, Eliza Lewis is watching as well.
Another faithful lady again.
Yeah.
Always tuned in.
Peter Thomas.
The Rock.
Peter Thomas is asking whether Byron is going to be quarantined when he gets here.
Interestingly.
That's an interesting question.
Very much.
Mr. Thomas. Tony Mitchell is watching it for us tonight. Kenson Carbon is watching. Tony Mitchell is watching as well.
Big up, Kenson.
My dear friend, Catherine. Catherine is watching as well. Catherine, I wouldn't dare pronounce the second name, but Catherine Fingal. Let me just leave it as that tonight. Catherine Fingal is watching. Say hi to your people, especially your dad, Catherine.
Yeah, man.
And also I want to thank you for your sponsorship as well of Civic Vibes. We want to thank you for that. Eldika John, wow, another favorite.
Yeah.
You know Eldika John Bruno
Yes.
will be all about in town on Friday with her placard on her chest.
Oh, he's in town, she does be doing that
yes,
then?
man.
Oh, let me salute her, man. Big up to your
Eldika.
sister, man. Much love. Salute
Eldika
you.
is
You are so
solid.
true soldier, man.
Eldika
man.
told me when she was wherever she was and she used to hear protest, she used to get sick.
Sick.
So now she's here. She cannot not be
Oh,
part of the action.
Oh, I just love her spirit, man.
So she's
not
in
easy.
town. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's in town
not
every
easy,
Friday,
man.
and
She's a fighter, yeah.
she's keeping it up.
Yeah, I love her spirit.
Elaine
man.
Vidal is watching as well. Good evening to you, Elaine. Patsy Celestine Joseph is watching as well. Adi Rafa is watching. Juanita Prince, good evening to you. Well, Judith Giss is one of the suspects as well. I know Judith Giss is always on with us.
Always tuning in. Everyone I've seen her.
Yeah.
Solid lady.
Another suspect as well, Anita Adams. She's always
Yeah.
there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your prayers and everything that goes with it, Anita.
But Lofty, we must big up the ladies big time, you know. The ladies representing, you realize that? The ladies, they are always representing. Well represented.
You know, there's a lady as well, right? There's a lady as well that I keep forgetting to mention her. And as I remember her tonight, let me just say good evening to her as well. Maybe she's not watching, but she will get the message. Our dear friend.
Shirley Allen?
No. Well, Shirley Allen is one of our favorite sisters as well. So Shirley, good evening to you. Irma Schillingford. You know that name? You can remember, lady?
Yeah, man. I made her not too long.
Right. I want to say good evening, a special good evening to Irma Schillingford.
She there now? She tuned in?
No, she's not on there, but Irma is one of the ladies I can attest that she's a very, very solid, dedicated, patriotic woman.
Good evening to you, my sister.
Irma used to be
Schillingford,
there, hot sun, rain, thunder, lightning.
As a matter of fact, she's up making the rounds on Facebook with that powerful, nice photo with
I remember.
Where is the 1.2 billion? Lofty, we don't even touch on that tonight now.
No, we didn't have
that
time for it.
$1.2 billion. My God, how can I do that? But anyway, I still mention it before we close, eh? Yeah.
Marceline, as though you made your entrance late tonight. Where were you, Marceline?
No, Marceline to me there for a while.
Oh, she there for a while. Okay, now
Good evening to you, Marceline Edwards. Big up to you. I salute you as well. Solid lady, man. Fighting for the cause. Championing the cause of Dominica, man. Yeah, man.
Marceline, good evening to you, Marceline. Laville, Randolph, good evening to you as well.
Yeah.
Just stay close. Claudette Lender, all of you guys just, keep Dominica at heart. Keep Dominica close to your heart. That is what is going to see us through in terms of our patriotic spirit.
Indeed.
We just want to thank all of you tonight for tuning in with us tonight. It's always a pleasure to have you in our company. Bruno, your phone is causing problems now.
Well, that phone there is always
All right, so folks, I will leave you in the hands of Mr. Bruno to wind up, but my final words to us tonight is that let us be each other's keeper. Let us be the best that we can be, knowing fully well that whatever we do to our brothers and sisters, we are doing it unto ourselves as well. Thank you, folks. Till we see some other time. Oh, before I go, one more announcement before I go tonight. Normally, I have a Saturday live, starts at 6 every Saturday for us. Unfortunately, this Saturday, we're having another function at the Harlem Plaza, which starts at 4 o'clock. Now, I know for sure that activity at the Harlem Plaza will go way past the 6 o'clock hour. And my phone will be there carrying that event live at the Harlem Plaza because it is an activity of national importance whereby Mr. Lennox Honeychurch will be our featured speaker at the Harlem Plaza. He is going to speak on the importance of the old Roseau Boys School to Dominica and Dominica's development. And I really don't want us to miss that, so I'll be bringing that live to you, that discussion. So most likely, 99% sure that our live for this Saturday at 6 o'clock will be postponed or will be cancelled during that activity at Harlem Plaza on Saturday. That activity, That activity is being hosted by the Moon Selway group out of Newtown. You know, Buju, Tola, and the guys, Pyro and the guys. Also, CCM will be playing a role in that as well. We have and other stakeholders, around 3 or 4 active groups in that area, will be featured at that all-important activity on Saturday. It starts at 4 p.m. Saturday the 19th, that is this Saturday. So, as I said, my live, and on Saturday, for sure, we will not have a live because I will be at Harlem Plaza bringing you that all-important event where Lennox Honey Church will be speaking on the importance of the old Roseau Boys School. For those of you who remember the old Roseau Boys School, it is this old Roseau Boys School, this old building opposite the Newtown Savannah. A lot of the elderly folks will have gone to school there. A lot of our bright minds today, people like Henry Dyer and others, Ozzy Lewis and others, these people who hold that building as a treasure in their hearts and mind. But we are hearing of move by this government to do away with it in a very subtle way. So that is the reason for that discussion, basically trying to impress on the minds of the powers that be, who is trying to take away that property and sell it in a very deceptive manner, that is not the right thing to do in the interest of our country and in the interest of the country's historical richness. So we'll be bringing that to you live on Saturday. All right, I think that is all I have for announcement for now. So Saturday we've got the 4 o'clock Harlem Plaza, and on Sunday, of course, 1 o'clock on Q95. There will be young people. They will be putting on a program, a splendid program, I must add, about how young people can play their part in taking care of our rivers or waterways or natural beauty in Dominica, because the following Sunday will be celebrated in Dominica and the world as World Rivers Day. So the young persons will be taking it on the week before, and then the adults with Mr. Coffee and his team, they will be bringing on the curtains next week Sunday, that is the 27th, as this World Rivers Day culminates with a very, very big activity up in the east area. But stay tuned, Civic Vibes has a very, very big prize for not the 20 US top up for sure. It's something much bigger than that, something much more interesting than that on that Sunday, so you don't want to miss. I just want to say thank you for listening tonight, and I pray that the good angels above would keep you whilst you sleep and you get up in a rejuvenated fashion tomorrow to continue the good work for and on behalf of your country and your fellow man. Good night, folks. Bruno, your final thoughts.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lofty. Good evening to you and Ifya Adams. It was a pleasure being in the company of all of you. And Lofty, I just want to say a special thank you for having me on your platform tonight. And it was a pleasure, and I think we cover a number of grounds, and I mean it was, food for thought, and I did enjoy it, and I just want to say a pleasant good evening to everybody, and I trust that we all would stay focused, would remain together, united. Together we can, together we will. United will stand, divided will fall. Let us keep the love flowing, and let us keep this spirit among ourselves, among our brothers and among our sisters. Love you all. God bless. We will continue to dialogue, to bring the news and discuss together, and to bring this country back to right order. I thank you, and I give you my love, and I give you my commitment that I will do my best. We will do our best in serving this country. Thank you. More love, more glory, more blessing.